I've spent 3 years being chased by Leo in the ecosystem of St. Jude's Academy. It's a known law of physics. I'm the sun, and Leo is the satellite that refuses to drift out of orbit. He's loud, he's persistent, and he's utterly transparent. Whether it's leaving a cold strawberry milk on my desk every morning or accidentally ending up in the same library carrel as me, Leo has made loving me his full-time extracurricular activity. And me? I'm the Ice King, the untouchable honors student. I enjoy the attention. I'm human. After all, but I've never given him an inch. I like the chase. I like knowing that no matter how hard my day is, there's one person in this world whose entire mood shifts based on whether I spare him a glance. But the thing about gravity is that if you pull too hard for too long, something eventually snaps. The crack in the routine. It started on a Tuesday. The strawberry milk wasn't there. I stared at the empty corner of my mahogany desk for a full minute. My chest felt strangely hollow, a phantom limb sensation. He's probably just late, I told myself, adjusting my glasses and opening my calculus text. But then the bell rang. Leo walked in, laughing with a group of guys from the soccer team. He didn't look at my desk. He didn't even look at me. He sat 3 rows back, tucked his chin into his hoodie, and started scrolling on his phone. The silence from his side of the room was deafening. By lunch, the irritation had turned into a low-grade fever. I found him in the courtyard. But he wasn't alone. He was sitting with Minho, a junior who had been eyeing Leo for months. Minho was leaning in close, whispering something that made Leo's shoulders shake with a genuine, bright laugh, the kind of laugh that used to be reserved for his most desperate attempts to get my attention. I walked past them, my footsteps heavy. I expected Leo to jump up, to call my name, to offer some pathetic excuse for the missed milk. Nothing. Just the sound of his laughter fading behind me. The breaking point. Rain began to lash against the windows during the final period. The drama department was holding a tech rehearsal, and as the student body president, I had to stay late to oversee the budget signatures. I found Leo in the auditorium, helping move sets. He looked exhausted, his hair damp from the rain, his usual spark dimmed by a weary sort of calm. "Leo," I called out, my voice echoing in the rafters. He stopped, a heavy plywood flat in his hands. He looked at me, and for the first time in 3 years, his eyes didn't widen with adoration. They were just flat. "Oh, hey, Chris, do you need the signatures? They're on the director's table." "I don't care about the signatures," I said, stepping onto the stage. The wood creaked under my boots. "You didn't come by this morning." Leo set the plywood down slowly. He wiped his hands on his jeans. "I was busy." "You're never too busy. You've done it for 700 days straight." "Leo, don't play games with me." Leo let out a short, dry puff of air that wasn't quite a laugh. "Games? Chris, I've been the one playing a game where the rules are tried to make Chris Smilin lose every time. I'm just tired of playing." He turned to walk away. The sight of his back, the back I had watched follow me down hallways for years, sent a jolt of genuine panic through my ribs. It felt like the floor was falling out from under the stage. "Is it Minho?" I spat, the jealousy tasting like copper in my mouth. "Is that why you're quitting? Because someone else is easier?" Leo stopped. He turned back, his expression twisting into something sharp and painful. "Easier? No, because he actually looks at me. When I talk, he hears me. When I'm there, he notices." He took a step toward me, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "I've spent 3 years being a ghost in your life, Chris. I thought if I stayed long enough, you'd eventually see me as a person, not just a fixture of your ego." "I do see you," I shouted. "No, you see a fan," Leo countered. "And I'm done being a fan. I want to be someone's choice." The aftermath. He left me standing on that dark stage, The rain intensified, drumming a frantic rhythm on the metal roof. I realized then that I hadn't just been enjoying the chase. I had been relying on it. Leo was the heartbeat of my school life. Without his constant, nagging, beautiful persistence, the hallways felt like a museum, cold, static, and dead. I didn't go home. I waited by the lockers. I waited until the lights dimmed to their night setting. When Leo finally emerged from the theater wing, smelling of sawdust and drain, I didn't give him a chance to speak. I pinned him against the lockers, the metal clanging loudly in the empty hall. "You don't get to just stop," I hissed, my heart hammering against my chest. Leo didn't flinch. He just looked at me with those tired, beautiful eyes. "Why not? You never wanted me anyway." "You're a liar," I whispered. I leaned in, closing the distance I had spent years maintaining. The kiss was messy, desperate, fueled by the 3 years of pride I was currently burning to the ground. It tasted like salt and the strawberry milk I hadn't had that morning. For a second, he didn't move. My heart stopped. I thought I had finally pushed too far, stayed cold for too long. Then, his hands flew up, gripping the lapels of my blazer, pulling me closer until there wasn't a molecule of air between us. He kissed me back with the hunger of someone who had been starving in plain sight. When we finally broke apart, both of us breathless, Leo kept his forehead against mine. His grip on my jacket was shaking. "If this is another game, Chris," he breathed, "I will actually break." I reached up, sliding my hand into his damp hair, finally letting the mask of the ice king shatter completely. "No more games. I'm the one chasing you now." Leo looked at me, a small, familiar spark finally returning to his eyes. "You're going to be terrible at it." "Probably," I admitted, pulling him back in. "But I have a feeling you're worth the effort." Chapter 2: The Public Fracture. The Monday after the auditorium confrontation didn't bring the fairy tale ending I expected. I walked into school with a strange lightness in my chest, a proprietary feeling that made me want to find Leo and claim him in front of everyone. But the ice king reputation I built was a double-edged sword. When I saw Leo at his locker, I realized I didn't know how to be a boyfriend. I only knew how to be an idol. I walked up to him, my movements stiff. "Leo." He was talking to Minho again. They were looking at a flyer for the winter formal. Leo looked up, his expression guarded. The warmth from Friday night was gone, replaced by a wall of high school social survival. "Hey, Chris," Leo said. His voice was casual. Too casual. It felt like a slap. Minho smirked, crossing his arms. "The president is a long way from the honors wing. Do you need something, or are you just here to collect your daily tribute?" I felt the blood rush to my face. I wanted to talk to Leo. Alone. Leo looked at Minho, then back at me. He sighed, a sound of genuine exhaustion. "I have practice, Chris. And Minho is helping me with my stats homework. Maybe later." He walked away. He actually walked away from me. The hallway went silent. People were whispering. I could feel the invisible crown on my head tilting, sliding. For years, I was the one who walked away. To have the roles reversed in front of the entire junior class was a humiliation I wasn't prepared for. The weight of the past. The drama escalated during the midday assembly. I was on stage, delivering a speech about the upcoming gala, but my eyes were locked on the back of the room where Leo was sitting. He wasn't looking at me. He was laughing at something Minho whispered in his ear. I stumbled over a sentence. The microphone shrieked with feedback. I saw Leo flinch and look up, our eyes meeting for a split second. In that moment, I saw it not love, but doubt. He didn't believe Friday was real. He thought I was just reclaiming my territory because I couldn't handle losing a follower. After the assembly, I cornered him in the music room. The sound of someone practicing the cello echoed through the walls, low and mournful. "What was that?" I demanded, slamming the door shut. You kissed me back, Leo. You held on to me like your life depended on it. Leo dropped his backpack nut on the piano bench. And then you spent the whole weekend not texting me once, Chris. Not a single word. I didn't know what to say. I stammered. I've never done this. Exactly. Leo shouted, his voice cracking. You've never had to try. You think because you finally decided you like the way I taste, I'm just going to fall back into line? I spent 3 years crying over you. 3 years wondering what was wrong with me, that I wasn't worth a hello in the hallway. He stepped closer, poking a finger into my chest. You don't get to be the top just because you're tall and have good grades. You're a coward, Chris. You're afraid of what people will think if the golden boy actually loves the stalker kid. The betrayal. The drama reached a boiling point on Wednesday. A video surfaced on the school's anonymous forum. It was a clip from a few months ago, me sitting with my old group of friends in the cafeteria. One of them, a guy named Marcus, was mocking Leo's latest gift, a hand-knitted scarf Leo had spent weeks on. In the video, Marcus asks, "Why don't you just tell him to get lost? Chris, he's embarrassing you." And there I was on screen with a bored expression, saying, "Why would I? It's free entertainment. Besides, it's nice to have a dog that knows its place." The video went viral by third period. I felt sick. I had said those words to save face, to look cool in front of the guys I didn't even like. I hadn't meant them, but as I saw Leo standing in the middle of the quad, staring at his phone with tears streaming down his face, the distinction didn't matter. I ran toward him. "Leo, wait. That was months ago. I didn't." Minho stepped in front of me, his hand flat against my chest. "Don't. You've done enough, Chris." Leo looked at me over Minho's shoulder. His eyes weren't flat anymore. They were shattered. "A dog?" he whispered. "Is that all I was?" "No," I choked out. "Leo, please." "I finally got what I wanted," Leo said, his voice trembling. "I finally got you to notice me. And it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me." He turned and ran. He didn't just walk away, this time he fled. The redemption, the long night. The next 48 hours were a blur of self-loathing. I quit the student council. I stopped answering my friends' calls. I realized that my perfect life was a hollow shell, and the only thing that had ever been real in it was the boy who left strawberry milk on my desk. I spent all my savings. I went to the one place I knew Leo went when he was sad, the old pier by the lake. It was pouring rain again. I found him sitting under a rusted overhang, looking out at the gray water. I didn't say a word. I just sat down next to him, getting my expensive wool coat soaked. I pulled out a thermos and a small bag. "What are you doing here?" Leo asked, his voice hoarse. "I'm being a dog," I said quietly. I opened the bag. Inside was a hand-knitted scarf, the one Marcus had mocked. I had fished it out of my charity bin at home. I wrapped it around my own neck. Then I opened the thermos and poured a cup of strawberry milk. "I went to 6 different stores to find the brand you used to buy," I said, my voice shaking. "I realized I didn't even know your favorite color. I didn't know your middle name. I didn't know anything because I was too busy looking at my own reflection in your eyes." I held the cup out to him. "I don't want you to pursue me anymore, Leo. I want to earn the right to stand next to you, even if it takes another 3 years, even if you never forgive me." Leo looked at the strawberry milk, then at the scarf. The silence lasted an eternity. The rain was the only sound, a roar of white noise. Slowly, his hand reached out. He didn't take the milk. Instead, he reached for the end of the scarf I was wearing and pulled. He pulled me toward him until our faces were inches apart. "You're going to have to do a lot more than buy milk, Chris," he whispered, his eyes searching mine for a lie. "I know," I said, leaning in. "I'm ready to start from zero. This time, when we kissed, It wasn't about power or ego. It was an apology. It was a beginning. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one being followed. I was finally, truly found. The weight of the crown. The following month was an exercise in ego death. The social hierarchy of St. Jude's didn't just shift, it imploded. Everyone expected me to eventually snap out of it, to go back to being the untouchable Chris who sat at the head of the cafeteria table. Instead, they found me sitting on the floor of the art wing, helping Leo wash paint brushes, or standing outside his soccer practice holding his water bottle like it was a holy relic. But Marcus and the rest of the elites weren't going to let the status quo die without a fight. The confrontation. It happened on a Friday, exactly 4 weeks after the dog video had nearly ruined everything. I was waiting for Leo by the gym entrance when Marcus and 3 other guys from the varsity basketball team surrounded me. "Look at this," Marcus sneered, gesturing to the heavy bag I was carrying, Leo's gym bag. The Prince of St. Jude's, reduced to a bellhop. "Does he let you sleep on the rug too, Chris?" I didn't look up from my book. "He lets me be myself, Marcus. Something you wouldn't understand since you spend all your time pretending to be a character from a bad 90s movie." Marcus's face turned a mottled purple. He snatched the bag out of my hand and threw it across the wet asphalt of the parking lot. "You're pathetic. You had everything. You had the power, the reputation, and you threw it away for a guy who spent 3 years acting like your personal servant." I stood up slowly. I was taller than Marcus, a fact I usually didn't use to intimidate people. But today, I let the Ice King persona bleed back into my eyes, not for my own sake, but for Leo's. "He wasn't a servant," I said, my voice dropping to a dangerous low frequency. "He was the only person in this entire school who was brave enough to be honest, while you were busy sucking up to me for my father's connections. Leo was the only one who actually cared if I'd eaten lunch." I stepped into Marcus's space. "And if you ever touch his things again, or speak his name with that mouth, I won't just ignore you. I'll make sure your father's firm hears exactly why their golden boy son is getting suspended for harassment. Try me." Marcus stepped back, his bravado crumbling. He knew I wasn't bluffing. Before he could respond, a familiar voice cut through the tension. "Chris, what's going on?" Leo was standing by the gym doors, his hair sweaty from practice, looking between me and the group of guys. He saw his bag lying in the puddle. The shift in power. Leo didn't look sad. He didn't look like the boy who had cried in the quad. He looked annoyed. He walked past Marcus like he was a piece of furniture and picked up his bag. He shook the water off it, then walked straight back to me. "Did they say something?" Leo asked, ignoring the 4 varsity players entirely. "It doesn't matter," I said, my heart still racing from the confrontation. "I've got it." Leo looked at me, then at Marcus. He did something I didn't expect. He reached out and grabbed the lapels of my blazer, the same move I'd used on him, and pulled me down for a hard, possessive kiss right there in the middle of the parking lot. It wasn't a sweet kiss. It was a statement. It was Leo telling the entire school that he wasn't the one being allowed to be with me. He was the one in charge. When he pulled away, Marcus and his friends were staring, mouths agape. "Let's go, Chris," Leo said, slinging his damp bag over his shoulder. "I'm hungry, and you promised to take me to that ramen place across town." "I did," I said, a genuine smile breaking across my face, the kind of smile that never used to exist before him. The new reality. As we walked away, leaving the elites behind in the dust of their own irrelevance, Leo leaned into my side. "You were getting all Ice King again, weren't you?" he teased, poking my ribs. "I was defending your honor," I protested, though I was blushing. "I don't need a knight, Chris. I need a boyfriend who isn't afraid to be seen with the stalker kid." "I'm not afraid," I said, stopping him under the street lamp at the edge of campus. I took his hand, interlacing our fingers so tightly it hurt. "I'm proud. I spent 3 years being the center of the universe. But I was lonely as hell. I'd rather be your dog than their king any day. Leo laughed, a bright, clear sound that echoed off the brick walls of the school. Okay. Enough with the drama. But since you're so committed to the role, he handed me his bag again. Carry this. My shoulder is killing me from practice. I took the bag with a grin. The chase was over. The roles had shifted, blurred, and finally settled into something real. I wasn't the sun anymore, and he wasn't my satellite. We were just two boys walking home in the rain, finally moving in the same direction. Epilogue 1 year later. In the senior yearbook, there's a photo of the two of us. I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at Leo. He's laughing, his head tilted back, holding a strawberry milk. The caption under my name doesn't list student council president or valedictorian. It simply says finally caught. And beneath Leo's name, in a font he chose himself, always knew Ike.